JC kids, what are your book knowledge going to do for you when you're left alone on the streets with no one to help you? You can't read those books to survive, man. You just can't. Welcome to another episode of Hash It Out, and today we are debating over this topic of junior college JC students will survive better than polytechnic students on a desert island. I'm Tze Liang, and with me I've Driven, and we are on the opposing team because we are both Poly kids. And on the affirmative team, I'm not sure why they're here anyway, we have Leah and Lingy. Hi!
Hey, we're JC kids.
Yeah.
Obviously.
If we're ready, the time is going to go to the affirmative team first.
Okay. 3. Oh my god, wow.
JC kids survive better than poly kids on a desert island. Yes, why? JC kids are book smarter, okay? General stereotype is that JC kids are what? Book smarter, correct? Then just because JC kids are book smart doesn't mean they are not street smart, what? And poly kids, just because they are less book smart doesn't mean they are street smart. They can also be book dumb and street dumb. So if we ignore the street smart portion, JC kids are at least book smarter. JC students have better critical thinking and problem-solving skills. The A-level syllabus encourage analytical thinking and problem-solving, equipping JC students with the ability to assess risks, make logical decisions, and adapt strategies to changing circumstances. And general paper and project work hone their ability to analyze information quickly, which is crucial for surviving, okay? And better adaptation to high-pressure situations for JC kids. JC kids are used to high academic stress, which may translate into resilience and endurance in challenging survival situations. Their expectation of balancing multiple subjects, CCAs, national exams, extreme amount of pressure and expectations from their parents. All this means they are skilled at managing time and priorities, crucial for survival on an island. JC kids have put all-nighters for exams. Staying up all night to fight off wild animals, no problem. If we can survive A-levels, we can survive anything. Lastly, JC students are more likely to be happier on a desert island. Why? Because they no longer have to wear uniforms. While poly students already enjoy this particular privilege, their mental health will not benefit from this, comparing to JC students who can finally rid of their uniforms because, let's be honest, name one JC uniform design that is bearable. None, okay?
Basically, just now Lily talked about like how it's very academic rigorous and everything like that, right? So what I would say, right, is that people in JC, they take a lot of like very in-depth high-level subjects. So for example, like physics, geography, whatever, in a very high level, right? So they know a lot of details and a lot of the information about each specific subject. So for example, a JC student who takes like physics, chemistry, and geography, right, would likely survive in a desert island way more than maybe a poly student who's taking like a business diploma. You know what I mean? Because they have the theoretical knowledge, they're also book smart in a way that, like for example, geography, you know about like the landscape, like the soil, things that you need to survive. You don't know? I mean, I know, I took geography in school. So basically, when you know all these things, it will definitely help you in theory and also help you analyze the situation better. And also, I would say that like, for example, if you know physics, right, you know how to like, well, the science. Okay, I don't know physics because I never studied physics, but if you know physics, right, you will know there's a lot of like different ways that you can use like energy or whatever to solve the situation and like, you know, to start a, why? No? I don't know physics, so yeah, anyway, continue. Then basically, the knowledge that you will have from each different subject can add up and help you in the long run. Okay, and then other things also like exposure to a rigorous curriculum, right? For example, JC students have a lot of opportunities to go on like survival overnight camps, things like that in smaller cohorts as well. Because if you go in a small cohort, the chances of you learning more in like, let's say that particular program, right, will help you survive overnight as well. There's a lot of like OBS camps, things like that, going on like a 3-day, 2-night trip overseas, especially for like the leadership positions, right? It will help you definitely in your survival skills as well. Also, for example, they have like a lot of CCAs, right? So means that like CCA is mandatory in JC. So for example, they will be inclined to, let's say, take a sports CCA or be religious in like their curriculum. So they have to go school, then they go CCA, then after CCA, then they have to continue study again, right? So they have to be very, very disciplined. So if, let's say, on a desert island, right, you will also take that disciplined mindset and translate it into your daily routine on a desert island, for example. So you have to find like food, find water, like find a strategy in the things, and your disciplined mindset will totally help you with that. And also, Correct, Slay. Okay, so, and the last thing is that the JC kids, the mental that the JC kids have, I would say like because the pressure in JC is so strong, you have to like grind every day. Like I said, the curriculum is like super intense and super packed, right? In those 2 years, you have to study like so much. Basically, that will help increase their mental on surviving on a desert island because they will be strong and resilient to any challenge that comes their way. The end.
And on time. Perfect.
How dare you assume that poly students are less smart than JC students? How dare you? But anyway, hey, so let's have an imaginary scenario today, okay? So there's a group of 10 students, 5 from JC, 5 from poly. They're traveling together for whatever reasons, right? Overseas trip. And then, unfortunately, the plane kena something like, and then the plane, middle of the South China Sea, and then they made their way down to this tiny little desert island. And everyone's like desperate for help, but they realized that there's nobody else, so they decided to split into 2 groups. So you have 5 JC kids, 5 poly kids. And let's take a look at what happened over the next 10 days. So on day 1, okay, the JC kids will be like, we have leadership skills, we do PW, project work. And JC kids, the poly kids will be like, but we do that all the time. Yeah. Every single assignment we do, it's like a project work. What? Yeah. Nada, easy. So, first off, we have Ling Yi, right? So she's a science student. She's like, okay, let's calculate the sun's angle to estimate our latitude to find out where we are. And she looked at the sun and she said, actually, I'm burning my eyes. Meanwhile, the poly kids, they already went to find the fuselage, they find all the broken down parts from the plane, and they've crafted a shelter. They got a water source done already. See, day 1, warmed by the poly kids, easy. Come, day 2. Day 2, they're looking for other edible foods. So Leah, the bio student, she's like, oh, I think this plant, I've seen it on the textbook before. Let me recall my theoretical knowledge. I think my teacher said this is edible, but I don't have any lab equipment here, so I can't do lab tests. Then let's not act harshly, okay? Then what do we do? So you have the poly kids coming in and be like, hey, you know what? I'm from environmental science and I know the way to make sure that these are safe for consumption. And that's what they do. And day 2, won by the poly kids once again. And take a look at day 3. Day 3, you talk about leadership skills of your PW, right? The JC kids be like, actually, we only did PW once, and I think that you guys all suck lah. I'm the best leader. You all should have voted me to be the group leader. They're all about individualism. It's not about teamwork. Meanwhile, poly kids, they have to do this all the time. They're used to internships. They know how to work in a real life scenario, in a real life setting, with real adults in the real world. You're on textbook me, real one, you know that. So they know all these real scenarios, and they're able to lead the team to success, and they survive and they thrive. At the end of day 10, the GC kids have no choice but to go over to the poly kids site shelter and say, hey guys, we don't know what to do without you. Yeah, end of story. Jeevan, your turn.
Yeah, and I think I want to back it up with some facts for
Let's
you guys.
go.
So a case study in Singapore Management University found that polytechnic students who went to complete university degrees had easier time adjusting to the fast-paced, project-oriented learning at university. Many polytechnic students had already had practical skills that they could apply immediately, whereas JC students with theoretical backgrounds took longer time to adjust. Can you imagine in the island, you need to like think quickly, you need to be on your feet and like move, get going, you know, we cannot get you to like have your huddle, PT party, what are we going to do there? I think that's what JC kids are going to do. Polytechnic education emphasizes a lot more on hands-on learning, workshops, labs and internships. So this exposure to real-world applications means students are often adept at troubleshooting, building and repairing things under pressure, skills used to getting out of a desert island. So while y'all are, you know, like having your PT party, the poly kids are already like building a shelter, building a raft, ready to get out of the island. So earlier he mentioned, you know, if you're environmental studies, if you're from maritime studies, all these things will come in handy. Whereas for JC students, you only learn more general stuff like geography, right? But do you go in-depth into geography?
Let's talk about the specific course that you can find in some of the Singapore polytechnics. Aerospace, so there's aerospace engineering, you have electronics. And did you know that some students at a particular polytechnic had the chance to go have a hands-on experience with a Super Puma helicopter that was donated by the RSAF. So they know how to fix an actual Super Puma helicopter. So in the case that the helicopter comes down and crash, they know how to fix it and get out of there. But you guys will be like, my theory says that we are on the 3rd layer of the Earth's shell. That's all I know about geog.
Okay, so aside from applied fields, I think it's physical and mental toughness as well. The hands-on nature of polytechnic education often involves physical work and real-world challenges which could help the students build physical endurance and mental toughness. So poly is how many years? 3. JC is 2 years. So 3 years, we technically spend more time in the environment, we learn, we build skills. So I would say we would get out of the...
Yeah, lah. Unless you retain. GPA is forever. A-level. GPA is forever. Every single little thing I do in poly counts towards my final GPA, and that will get me further away from. No, that will get me further towards my final goal. Okay, so GPA counts. Meanwhile, you guys only have to study for one exam,
Over the course of 2 years.
Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but are we
Every
studying
single
exam on a
assignment.
desert island? I'm confused. What's the point of this? Okay.
Yeah,
that it's
today's
harder for
today's
kids.
motion is JC kids survive better than poly kids. Keyword kids. Yeah, you might argue that poly students have more hands-on experience, which is one of your strongest points. Sadly to say that.
Yeah.
But is that really the case?
Yeah.
What if you're a media student in poly? What relevant hands-on experience do you have
Leadership
for island
skills, I can
surviving?
communicate. I'm from
Yeah.
back
What?
home.
How
我会
to-
讲中文，
How
我
to
我
come
我
up with
Chinese from.
how to come up with a marketing strategy on an island with no Wi-Fi? I believe most skills that we learned in JC and poly are irrelevant.
Like what?
No,
because
like-
you are kids. How? Okay, unless you major in island surviving in poly, which to my knowledge does not exist. In fact, Singapore is an island, and from what I can see, surviving on this island takes a JC graduation.
It's reaching so hard.
Oh
For
God.
real.
From comms, we have business management, we have communication. I know how to communicate with you, right? See,
Yeah.
effective communication. Can you get that fuselage for me? I will get the water. Good job, buddy. See,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
communicate. I
Okay.
can even do it in another language.
I want to rebut Jeevan's point just now. Okay, so basically, you made a point talking about how poly students adapt faster to going to uni and things like that, right? I would say that it's only because it's similar curriculum versus, like, let's say a JC student, right? It's a very different curriculum for a poly student, so that I think that point is completely irrelevant in the first place.
What do you mean?
It's not the same curriculum. So if you're going on a desert island, who has experience on a desert island before to adapt to that situation?
Quick, the ease of adapting, you can adapt
Because
faster.
you all have
an
similar
example.
curriculum.
That's
it's
an
the same
example,
curriculum
and
as
it was
uni.
us citing an
Yes.
example of a
Okay, let's
study
talk
of
about
I understand,
internships
I
then.
understand.
How-
Okay.
Do you have internships? You don't. Internship is the only chance you get to meet the real world and
Yes.
work with
Okay.
real people and
Yes.
solve real problems.
Yes.
And the real world is very different from a desert island.
Correct.
Right? So that's
We're surviving on a
irrelevant.
desert island, so that's why I said the point is like, yes, you may be able to adapt to uni where
Yeah.
circumstances are similar, but not necessarily on a desert island because you have never experienced a similar circumstance before.
Let's use an example. You say that Singapore is an island, right? You see, at least the poly kids during the internship, they get to walk around this tiny island called Singapore. Meanwhile, JC kids, they're stuck at the same corner on the tiny island called the junior college. They don't even leave the school.
On
kinda
that
funny.
point, let's build on that. Just now
Okay.
in my debate, I mentioned that JC students are more likely to survive better because they will be happier. I use the uniform as an example, right? Another example, why would JC students be happier on the island is because you know what is difficult for JC students to do compared to poly? They have to wear uniform. If they date, it's very difficult. On this desert island, it's much easier for JC students to date. Hence, they will be happier. And
Where's the
another
facts?
point.
Where is the
What
facts?
logic
What
is
logic
this?
is this?
That is
They
very
happy
logical.
because they can, I don't know, whatever.
No, because it's harder and nobody's gonna catch them because they are no longer under the societal impression that you are in a uniform, you are a JC student,
Okay,
you
know
are
what?
not
Yeah,
supposed to
yeah.
date.
Okay, go.
You see that they are no longer under the societal pressure to hide away their relationship, right? What are they gonna do on the desert island?
Exactly.
They're gonna do what couples do. Meanwhile, poly
Exactly.
students are gonna survive.
Find a way to
They'll
get
be
out
like,
of there.
Let's hold hands and kiss. And
Oh
let's kiss
my
and make out and do whatever the whole day and then get distracted. And you know what? They talk about your school uniform, right? You say they are happier now.
Yeah.
You're happier now without the school uniform is merely at my baseline happiness because I don't have to
Okay.
wear school uniform in the first place.
Okay. With all that personal attack, dear audience, you can tell that our JC students, we are only focused on why we can survive and how we can survive.
Yeah.
While the poly students,
Yes,
they
right.
are keep saying on how you cannot survive. And that shows that we are more confident and as JC students. And what does it take to survive on a desert island? Confidence and sometimes maybe a little bit of self-focus and a little bit of delulu. And this
Exactly.
we have all.
No, okay, listen.
This is
The-
why y'all will die on the
No,
island.
we are not
Y'all
gonna
will
die.
die
You
on the
must
island.
understand. Okay, so the thing is, right, what makes you think JC students wouldn't go on the island and find basic items to survive? This is human instinct to survive.
Okay.
So your point about it being like, oh, we will go and find the basic items. I'm like,
Yeah.
so would we. You know what I mean? Because that's on survival.
But you don't know how to use it?
Yeah.
No, Of course you know how to use it. It's basic items.
Algebra, A square plus B square.
Okay,
Yeah, how are you going to GP your way out of
the
the
way,
island?
if you condense everything to only just math and problems as a human being, you're ignoring human abilities to just survive on an island, right? But at the end of the day, right, surviving is about a mindset.
Yeah.
So our point is that JC students have this mindset because they have gone through a very rigorous curriculum for like 2 years, studying every single day. No, the thing is, right, okay, let me tell you my personal experience, right? You wake up, go to school for like I don't know how many hours, you go for CCA, after that you stay all the way back until like 11 p.m. to night study, and this happens for months, like 2 to 3 months straight. So you do it every single day on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. It's a routine already, right? So this mindset of like discipline and like experiences, right, through this will allow you to survive on the island because it's about surviving through the hardships.
And you do that for what, 2 to 3 months at a time, right? Oh, have you heard of internships? We do that for like 4 to 5 months at a time, and we do the same thing. And I have my weekends burnt as well. I'm in the office from like 9 a.m. all the way until 11 p.m. and I'm there doing all sorts of things for my bosses.
Fair.
Different experiences, right? See?
Correct, but like, the thing is, right, in JC, right, a lot of things are like mandatory, but in poly, right, a lot of the experiences, y'all can choose what you want to do. You can choose whether you want to go to a very rigorous internship or you choose to go to a very slack internship.
Says who?
It's true, what?
It's not.
You go to an internship, then if you're, I've had poly friends go to internship, they just stack things on the shelf every single day.
That is your friend's problem.
Yeah, but then your problem
But
also,
I
your
didn't get to
boys
choose.
know
I didn't get to choose the
They are
internship I
personally
wanted to do.
attacking each other, guys. They're personally attacking each other.
Yeah.
Why do you do that for both sides? Okay.
Yeah, because I'm a fair person.
Sure you are.
Okay, just now we talked about
Yeah, correct.
academic rigor and theoretical knowledge, which you think it's not important, right? Let me remind you, JC students undergo rigorous academic curriculums that includes a strong foundation on science.
Yeah.
For example, we learn biology,
Okay.
chemistry, physics, which can
Geography.
help us understand, yes,
And
survival
geography.
techniques like water purification, food
Like we
safety,
don't have
and
science.
basic first aid. Okay, their exposure to geography and environmental science gives them knowledge of ecosystems, weather patterns, sustainability, which can aid in long-term survival. When we are on an island, we are looking at long-term goals, right? Not exactly just right now, right at this minute, what do we need to find to eat? So
Okay.
from a long-term
Yes.
point of view, we have better chance of survival.
See, so you're talking about you have all these different, a wide range of knowledge that unfortunately all the poly courses do cover and even more. So you talk about basic first aid skills. Oh, congrats, have you heard of nursing?
Yeah.
Oh, they're not
Yeah.
just basic, they're actually certified nurses. They have
Nurses.
advanced survival and first aid skills. That's one thing. Secondly, right, you only have your JC kids. Well, what do you study? Well, you have 2 routes, right?
Science or arts?
Science or arts,
You can do
right?
a mix
Yeah.
of both.
Yeah, you
also.
can do
gonna
okay.
dance your way
So that's
out.
gonna be 3. So that's gonna be 3 options: science, arts, or a mix, right?
Yep, that's
but
right.
for poly, you have like over 100 courses.
That's right.
And the probability of you having someone who have the specific knowledge that you need to survive better on the island with poly kids is way higher.
That's right.
You have your designers to craft out a blueprint from
Your
tree
architects.
branches and leaves, your architects,
Sure.
and they can tell you to build a good base, a good foundation, and your engineers will dive right into it.
right.
Meanwhile, your business management, your art management, your comm students will be there guiding the whole team.
Exactly.
Sure, but that is unfair because everybody majoring in one thing, right? Or 2 at most. Let's say 1, right? You are using a wide range of all the majors available. It's not like the entire poly students, a poly student majoring in all these courses, you're majoring in 1, so you have knowledge in 1, maybe. If you are expert in this, which by the way, they are not. You're telling me poly students can fix a helicopter? Thoroughly. First of all, that's irrelevant. Just now you say they can fix a plane. Here we are saying we are surviving on an island now, not to get out of the island. So that is irrelevant.
Survival.
2, I think the knowledge that poly students could have acquired, practical skills that they could have acquired in poly itself is not sufficient enough. So when both poly and JC students have limited survival techniques, I think the ones that's regarded book smarter might have a better chance because we are at least book smarter.
If you're all book smart, but then you don't apply these like smartness, then how are you useful on an island? You know, if you only know
Exactly.
the theory but you don't know how
Correct.
to like practice it, how
Exactly.
will you be
And
useful?
I want to
Exactly.
say, how dare she say that you are a book smarter?
Yeah.
Where is the foundation for that?
Okay.
English is not Englishing.
Yeah.
Book smarter.
In what
Book
sense?
smart.
Where's your stats, your evidence?
Yeah, I want to hear some stats come out from you
Yeah,
guys
unless you
right
have
here.
the same O-level score, but I choose to go to a polytechnic. Does that mean you're smarter than me, book smarter than me?
But the percentage of the JC
Yeah,
students
the
to go to
percent,
uni is way higher than
according
poly
to
students.
national.
But you're having two different.
But you
one
also
also has
have-
diploma and A-level.
But there's a significant high dropout rates for JC students as well, just to show that you give up when times get tough.
Is there
And
a
poly kids get
significant
higher right off the
requirement?
bat, but you don't.
Yeah.
Who's got a high A-level?
So currently the scores, Zeliang and Jivan are winning by 2 points.
They had 2 points.
They have to.
Poly kids.
Did they even have 2 points?
Alright, but for this next round, we are gonna get both of y'all to switch camps. It will be a 1 versus 1 matchup. Leah and Zeliang will go first for the first 5 minutes, and then Ling Yi and Jivan will go for the next 5 minutes.
Okay,
It's my-
let's go. You got this.
Gentlemen, are you ready to exercise? You see, in poly, you are not required
Wow.
to exercise all the time. But in JC, you have to go for PE classes, you got your NAPA test. So you have no choice but to exercise with your classmates all the time. And it's compulsory. Poly kids, they be like, hey, not compulsory, maybe I go gym once a week, that's all. I do strength training for guys. Girls also can, right? But they don't want to do cardio. So if you don't have the cardio to help you survive from running away from a wild beast on this deserted island, right? How are you gonna survive better than JC kids? Do you get my NAFA, my 2.4, 8 minutes, you what? 14, you lose today, you feed the bear first, right? Secondly, let's talk about the kind of food that we eat. Okay? See, poly kids, you have the luxury of having fast food chains and amazing food in all the canteens that you have in school. You have so many canteens. We have one canteen, JC, one canteen, 5 stores, and the food all sucks. They all suck. Then how? Okay, so I'm not motivated to do well on a desert island as a poly kid because the food there sucks in comparison. But as a JC kid, I'm already used to the suckish food. I'm used to bad food, so I can survive on whatever measly ingredient I can find in the wild and survive from that. So I won't complain. Okay? And also because you have good food, right? You eat a lot. And what happens when you eat a lot? Then your fitness level drop lah. But we JC kids, we have no choice but to eat enough just to survive, and we study, we burn more calories, and we exercise through our PE classes.
Okay, Ken, my point now, okay? Okay, so basically, right, I would say that all your points aside, sure, valid whatsoever, maybe, yeah, but but JC students, right, okay, I would say, right, when y'all come to exams, right, y'all have 2 years, right, but a lot of them just blindly memorize throughout the entire JC process. So only at the end, right, they study like crazy to pass their A-levels or whatsoever. Right. Before that, they're failing every single subject. You can ask all my friends. Yeah, so, so basically, right, if you're on a desert island with JC kids, right, all that theoretical knowledge, nothing, because they are just blindly memorizing. They have no idea what they're studying. They just, E equals MC squared, okay, equals to what?
But
They
at least
just
they
memorize
memorize.
the answer. They just memorize the answer. That's all they do. Memorize only. Then always practice your 10 years series, answer the same kind of question over and over again. They have no idea what they're doing. They're just memorizing from their brain and applying it into the paper. So they see, oh, this question I see before, okay, this is the answer. You know what I mean? So, but for poly students, right, it's very different because they practice what they learn. They have practical reasons in real life, in workplace environments, right, to learn whatever they do in school and then apply it into real life as well. So whatever theory that they learn, right, they can apply it onto the desert island as well because they're able to take that knowledge and apply it into real life situations.
Good point.
Thank you.
But he talks about blindly memorizing. At least I remember the right answer to the end of my formula. So I know that, oh, I remember that the water has to be clear in order for us to consume it. Meanwhile, the poly kids were like, hey, I know hands-on the theory, forget, never mind muddy water, let's drink.
No, where got such thing? People with no common sense will know what they want to know how
How
to
do you
drink.
know?
What,
How
right?
dare you assume that they have common sense?
Whoa,
okay?
okay.
Secondly, right, see,
Yes.
JC kids, they like to brag about how they work so hard to get into the JC that they want, right? And how they work so hard to maintain such good grades, not to retain, get into a good uni. They would not allow themselves to fail from anything. They say, we work so hard to get into here for the sake of my face, for the pride of my family. Okay, I cannot be a disgrace to my family. I have to succeed. So they are more willing to work harder to survive on this desert island.
Okay.
In comparison, your poly kids will be like, actually, okay lah, this one my 5th choice, but never mind lah. When they go to a JC, a lot of guys will say, I'm in a JC, I must work hard because why I can become an officer in the army when I go for my NS. I don't want to be sergeant, I want to be called, yes sir. Yes sir. So they
Irrelevant.
have the motivation to survive better
Okay,
on the island.
irrelevant, but okay. So anyway, I would say that besides the motivation to survive, I'm sure poly students have motivation to survive as well. But what poly students do well, right, is they handle each problem by itself and they task by task, they're very task oriented. So for example, they have a problem for like this particular project, right? They'll handle it, resolve it, and then move on to the next one. JC students have to see like the bigger picture. They don't even know how to solve the problem because they only know how to memorize. Poly students can handle like one problem, adapt to it, and then take their real life experiences, adapt and solve the problem, move on. Another problem comes, they can settle the problem one by one. They don't have to look at it at the bigger picture. They don't have to overanalyze situations. They go handle it by real life and real scenarios that they have experienced before. They take their real scenarios and their real experiences and apply it into whatever problem solving they need to do on the island.
My JC grades are very real as well. My project work grades are very real as well.
Okay, and you apply and memorize and then vomit out. So you don't even know what you're studying at all. The end. Okay.
How we change?
Yeah, your turn.
Yes, your turn.
You want to go first? You're supposed to go first.
Okay, so JC students, I would say that we have emotional resilience, okay? Surviving the A-level stress phenomenon.
That
That
one
is
we talked
so
already. Just now we talked
difficult.
already.
We never mentioned A-level stress phenomenon, okay? And
What's
emotional
already?
resilience, that's a new pointer right there, okay? So despite setbacks, despite like all these like harsh conditions in a desert, right? You can imagine that the JC student will be able to like, you know what? I have been through tougher nights in studying for my A-levels. What is this desert island? I can get out of here. So it's a mindset thing,
That's what we
which
said.
I feel
That's
like
what we
JC
said.
students
That's what
have.
we said.
Cognitive agility, okay? They can
Just
juggle
because you throw out
various
random
subjects. Sorry, your poly, how many subjects you all take per semester? Only 4, right? Can I tell you, JC students, we take 10 subjects. How you all gonna compare to 4 versus 10? Again, it throws your cognitive agility to juggle many different subjects, and this would help you to work on the fly. Okay, so given a survival situation, they will be able to adapt rapidly.
I think poly students are more independent and self-sufficient. Polytechnic students experience a less structured academic environment compared to JC students, meaning they are more independent in managing their time and responsibility. Many of them juggle studies with part-time work, giving them real-world survival skills such as budgeting and self-reliance. Also, because of that, I know for a fact that poly students have to apply for interviews, right? The amount of rejections you get is a lot. All this real-world pressure and rejections are something that JC students have never been exposed to, and this is called what? Soft skills. As I mentioned just now, poly students, they do a non-structured academic environment. They are more adaptable to a new environment. For example, in our case, at Desert Island. Another point, dating and grooming, right? Like we said, JC students, they wear uniforms. They are not allowed to do a lot of things to themselves. They don't have the experience. For the fact, they don't have the experience in grooming and be stylish and all that because they don't have a choice. So poly students already know how to do that. So it's more likely for them to impress potential partners on islands. Hence,
Love island.
this will encourage happiness. And what does happiness mean? It means survive better on the island.
Together.
Also, poly students have more money because they work. When they have more money, means what? Means before they land on this island, right? They have more potentially travel experience. Because they have more of their own pocket money, right? When you travel more, you are what? You're more familiar with how to handle a foreign destination.
Correct.
And this is the destination we're talking about today, a desert
Correct.
island.
It's a desert island. Why do you want to impress anybody?
Love island.
Also, JC students are more disciplined because of the school's code of conduct. We groom ourselves well. We have to like have our hair
Which
at a
I
certain.
believe is irrelevant
Your hair is
on
all
island.
colorful, all the pink rainbow color on your hair. You know, JC kids we are prim and proper. Discipline instills like in army what they teach us. Discipline. Discipline helps us in army.
Discipline.
Just discipline.
And what is more desirable on an island?
Who?
Do you want to
This is not
survive
Love
with?
Island.
Do you want to survive with
This is
Tarzan,
not
or do you
Love
want to
Island.
survive with?
This is not a dating
Nerd?
show, Lingy. This is not a dating show. We're trying to get out of this island. We're
But
surviving.
but the fact of that, poly students have a better potential finding mates on island. If we are
Mates?
deserted
What, you want to
together,
procreate on the island?
Yes, that contribute to happiness, which means survive better.
You want to survive with your
Another
partner.
stats, yeah.
Let's hear it.
Stats 2023. Approximately 92.7% of poly graduates
Adelulu.
secured employment within 6 months of graduation. Okay, JC is what?
80+%.
80+%.
We mentioned.
Okay, and your point is?
The fact that poly students are able to secure a job better than JC students means they are better at
Getting out on the
interviewing
island.
skills,
Yeah.
socializing with people,
On the
and
island?
convincing people of hiring them.
On the island?
Yes, on the island, if you're looking at a long-term development plan, right?
Oh, you think you build BTO on the island? Ah?
The winner for this debate is Jivan and Zelia.
Celebrate! Celebrate! Poly represent! There's something extra. Let's go.
Outro. Wow, 红星大奖。
Ah, yeah. Name lah.
Alright, dear Poly kids and GC kids, thanks for watching to the end of today's episode of Hash It Out. Hope you join us again on the next episode and we can all make peace together and advance together as one Singapore. And remember to like and subscribe to the channel and we'll see you soon.
Bye.